Look, I'm tired of losing all my money buying SPY FDs. I want to be the guy on the other side of my trades who actually makes money. Instead of buying options, I should be selling options to people like me, and maybe I'll actually make money for once. One popular way of selling options is a strategy called the wheel. So the wheel is a strategy where you start off with a pile of cash, and with this pile of cash, you start selling puts. Now, on expiration, when you sell a put, there are two options. One is that you are not assigned on your puts and you get to keep your cash, which means you go back to the top of the wheel and sell another put. When you inevitably get assigned on your puts and you're forced to buy 100 shares, you move to the bottom of the wheel, which is to sell covered calls. Now, when you sell covered calls, there are two things that can happen. One is you don't get assigned and you keep your 100 shares, which just means you go back to the bottom and you sell another call. The second thing that could happen is that you can get assigned on your calls, which means you're forced to sell your 100 shares. And when you sell your 100 shares, you get back a pile of cash. And with this pile of cash, you move up back to the top of the wheel and start selling puts again. And you kind of just continue this wheel until you get priced out or until you just give up. If you don't know what any of this means, don't worry, I'll explain right now. So buying, so I was kind of yapping there. The extremely simple explanation of selling a put means that you agree to buy at a certain price if it dips below that price on the put's expiration. And selling covered calls are kind of similar, except you agree to sell at a certain price if it closes over that price on expiration. And in return for this agreement, we get premium, which is just another word for money. And you can do whatever you want with this money, but it's usually best to just reinvest it in other stocks or take it out and use it to like buy things, like buy food or whatever. I've done this like twice before, so I like to think I'm pretty qualified on all this stuff. So for the two times I've done this, I've sold options on SoFi. I like this stock and it's cheap enough where you only need like $800 to start wheeling, and it is pretty volatile, which tends to give better premiums. However, tip one, do not chase high yields. You will get blown out this way. Sure, high yields are cool because you get more money, but keep in mind that they're high for a reason. Stocks that give high premiums tend to be super volatile, and before you know it, you'll be bag holding $1 shares that you bought off a put for $50, or you'll be forced to sell shares that are worth $500 at $20 a piece. I think Mouse put it brilliantly when he said, "Don't focus too much on the cheese that you forget about the trap." So for this video, I think I'll sell weekly options because you can maximize the amount of money you make with weekly options, which brings me to tip or whatever number two. With options, time gets cheaper the further away from the present. So if you want to make as much money as possible, sell weeklies, but keep in mind that this is pretty risky because it only takes like one crazy week to completely blow you out. So if you sell a weekly and you get blown out, you're kind of just screwed. But if you sell a monthly, you'll get a little less premium, but you might be able to wait it out. It's easier to adjust or pivot your strategy. It's easier to roll, which we'll talk about. So it's just a risk versus reward thing, you know. Keep in mind Mouse. Keep in mind what Mouse said. So now that you know all about options, let's go wheel. So now that we're done with all that, let's start selling. And to preface, I'm recording this on my phone, and I sold the puts already on the Robinhood app on my phone. So just pretend like I'm doing it live and pretend like this is my phone. So we're gonna go over to SoFi. We're doing SoFi because that's the only stock I really have the money to wheel. So we're gonna go over trade options, go to March 1st, options expiring March 1st, since we're doing weeklies, and we're gonna hit sell put. Just make sure you hit the right buttons. No one wants to hear excuses when you accidentally buy a call or buy a put or whatever. Just hit the right buttons, you know, just pay attention. So sell a put, and right now we have two options. We can sell a put at the $8 strike, or we can sell it at the $7.50 strike. And I'm gonna do the $8 strike for $11 in premium because the $7.50 strike is only giving $1, and you can't really do much with $1. So let's just hit the $8 strike. So we'll sell it for $11 in premium. You can see sold it. And with this premium is just cash. You can do whatever you want with it. And what I usually do is I just buy shares of the underlying. So I'll use my $11 to buy one share. So about one share for like $8. And the rest, I'll just keep the remainder of $4 in cash, or whatever. Okay, so now that we sold the put, I'll add the $11 to the total, and yeah, we'll see what happens. Hopefully it goes good. Hopefully I don't get blown out, but let's see. Alright, so it's next Monday, and on Friday, SoFi closed at $9, which means our put expired worthless, which means we did not have to buy 100 shares at $8, so we get to keep all of our $11 premium. And since we didn't get assigned, what I'm gonna do again this week is sell another put, but instead of selling one that expires on Friday, I'm gonna sell one that expires next Friday, because next week is my break, and I'm not trying to do anything over my break, so that's what we're doing. Alright, so I haven't done this yet, so I don't know how much money we're gonna get or what strike or whatever, but just pretend like I did it already. So I'm gonna open up Robinhood and sell this put for next Friday for $6. And with my $6, I'm gonna actually just keep it in cash because I need money for parts, and right now I'm currently unemployed, so this is the only money I have coming in. So yeah, that's what we're doing. But we'll add $6 to the total, and now we have $17. Anyway, I'll update on Friday to see if anything happens, but hopefully hopefully, best case scenario, it cools down a little bit. Maybe it closes like 8.01, $8.02, but we'll see what happens. Alright, so today is Wednesday, and SoFi had a little bit of a rough day yesterday. It closed at $7.27 a share, which means that the put we sold is down. It's down a little bit. It's down over 1,300%.
Shit is definitely not all roses. And like I said, I like to be honest about where I'm at.
But it's fine, because what that really means is we sold the put for $6. And if we wanted to buy back the put so we didn't have to buy shares at $8, then we would take that big loss, because it would cost us like $88 or whatever to buy back the put, and only then do we take that loss. But if we don't buy it back, we keep our $6 and we just buy shares at $8. That's kind of the original plan. So I'm gonna keep holding. I think it's gonna be fine. SoFi's up pre-market. It's up a little bit, so I think it'll come back, and it doesn't really matter. These short-term fluctuations, they don't really matter, because I'm gonna hold it for the long term. So that's the plan here. Keep holding.
We going up from here, bro. What you mean, bro? Look, it's money going up, bro. We only going up.
All right, so it's Friday now, and SoFi's still going for around $7.40, $7.50 a share, which isn't terrible. It's not great, but it's not terrible. It's better than the $7.20, $7.30 that it was on Wednesday. And now our puts are down only 900%, which is a little better than 1,300%. So I'll take that little win. And, I don't want to say we're so back, because we're definitely far from being back, but we're also a lot farther from the over where we were on Wednesday. So it's starting to look up. All I need is for SoFi to go up another like 5% in like a week, which for something like SoFi, that's not like too unreasonable. Like, it's happened before. I mean, on Wednesday when it moved 20%. So, anything can happen. Still super volatile. So let's keep holding, see what happens. I'll update not next Monday, because that's my break, but the Monday after that Monday, when the put has completely expired. Hopefully just barely in the money, or just barely out of the money. So let's see what happens.
Please save me, Donald Trump. Please save me.
Okay, so it's the next Monday, And last Friday, SoFi closed at $7.07. And the last time I checked, our put was down over 1,600%. Remember when I said that SoFi would probably keep going up? That didn't happen. So, you know what? It's fine. You know what? This week, I think I'm just gonna take a break. I think I'll just step back, let SoFi do its thing, let it go back up, hopefully. There's a meeting, a Federal Reserve meeting this Wednesday. We'll see how, SoFi reacts to that. Let's just take a break, right? Let's just take a step back, take a breather, recoup, and let's see what happens. So since SoFi closed below our strike price of $8, we had to buy 100 shares at $8. So this is like I think it's an $86 loss because SoFi right now is at $7.07, but we bought shares at $8. We bought 100 shares at $8. So 800 minus 707 because I could have bought 100 shares at $7.07. So 800 minus 707 is a $93 loss. But you add in the premium, I think it's $5 or $6 premium, which brings the loss down a little bit to make it like an 87 or 88 whatever dollar loss, somewhere around there. So it's not the end of the world, but it's still a pretty big loss. So that's why I think we should just take a step back, take a breather, get our head in the game, and next week, let's see what happens. Alright, so today's Monday and SoFi is going for around $7.50 a share. So it still doesn't make sense to sell calls when it's this low. In theory, the next step of the wheel is to sell calls after you get assigned on your puts. But since SoFi tanked the other day and it's still pretty low, it doesn't really make sense to sell calls. I'll get pennies, and if I get assigned on these calls, it's just not a good situation. So that's kind of the end of this. In total, we made like $17 in premium. But if you counted the loss we took when we bought 100 shares at $8 when it was going for $7, that's like I think it's like a 60 something dollar loss in total. So maybe not the best month I've had, but I still think that this is a good way to make some extra money. Maybe if you take a lesson from this, maybe do it with like a less volatile stock. Maybe, a little Apple or something. SoFi's are super volatile, and it may not be worth it to sell calls or sell options on something like that. So that's it. And